Hey, hi, and welcome to Urban Health Beat. I'm your host, Marilyn Harris Davis, and this is Urban Health Beat 2.0, the podcast. You know, Urban Health Beat is the show that feeds your mind, body, and spirit. But today, we are doing all three, plus more. We are broadcasting on site today from the American Visionary Art Museum at 800 Key Highway in Baltimore, Maryland, right near the Inner Harbor. We are here to find out about their latest exhibit, The Secret Life of Earth. And as my guests say, we are looking at the fragile nature of life on our, quote, homegirl planet and how it affects us. Our guest today is Helen Yuen with the Visionary Arts Museum and the Director of Marketing and Communications and guru of the Visionary Art Museum. So welcome, Helen.
Thank you so much for being here and for having us.
Absolutely. But let me just ask you, Helen, what inspired The Secret Life of Earth? Because you have more than one exhibit here.
Yeah.
So what inspired this?
So this is The Secret Life of Earth exhibition. Alive, awake, and possibly really angry is the subtitle.
Alive, awake, and possibly really angry. Because once you see some of these things, and again, you have to come down and see them, you might get a little angry. And woke.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we hope to show all different aspects of Earth, how it's so precious and unique, and what's at really stake now in terms of the human impact on Earth, as well as fun facts that you may not know about.
I've learned so many fun facts from you. Absolutely.
And humor, too. That's all rolled in here because that's all part of life.
It's all part of it.
So it's on view here at the American Visionary Art Museum through September.
Okay.
And, you know, as soon as you walk in, you'll see a giant screen of what happens when there's a wildfire in California and how that looks like a plume of smoke that just spreads across the entire globe. And then when the winds blow across the Sahara and how that dust circulates around the world. And so this idea that we're
circulates around
a contained system, and so whatever happens here impacts the other side of the Earth. And then as you walk up, you know, we talk about the history of plastic and the impact that has had.
I was going to ask you about the plastics exhibit. That is
so we have
amazing.
a couple, Judith and Richard Selby Lang, who make it their life's work to every day collect the beach plastic from their local beach in Northern California. Over their lifetimes, you know, they've collected just pallets and pallets of this beach plastic, and they make art with it to just raise awareness again that they find, you know, little Japanese figurines from decades ago that wash up on their shores.
Beach. Oh, wow.
For example, and you know, we've taken just a small handful of what they've collected and we've hung that up on the ceiling so that as you walk in, you might experience what a sea creature might experience.
What might experience?
A sea creature might experience.
Sea creature. Oh, right.
When they're
when they're in
looking
the sea.
Up,
and they're looking up and they see all this plant.
Yeah, that is now populating their environment. And we do have several what are called gyres in various oceans around the world that are now the size of entire states.
Wait a minute. What are gyres? What are gyres?
They are just collections of plastic that now have formed a surface on the ocean, and they block sunlight, and so that impacts the whole food chain from the plankton down to the larger creatures. So that's as soon as you walk in, but we also want to fill you with hope and humor too. Yes. So there's definitely talk to or mention in the exhibition about hopeful solutions, about what we can do going forward. You know, there's a scientist who's looking at how we decompose waste with zero off-gassing. So things like that are explored.
So I'm sorry to interrupt you, but currently as we decompose waste, there is, for lack of a better term, on-gassing. it's gaseous. I mean, what do we do? I don't even know how is waste decomposed. How waste is decomposed. Sorry.
So we burn it, and we
And then
can
there's
sometimes,
carbon
and that
that it-
releases
gases.
into the atmosphere that then is part of our whole climate change phenomenon. That's or I should say climate change fact. That's been really proven by scientists over and over.
Yeah.
And also, China has stopped accepting they have stopped recycling plastic, so that's an entire
Why?
major. It's just not cost efficient.
effective?
So then that
What do they do with
just
it?
increases the amount of waste that
They just throw it away.
we have, that
Wow.
we all have, because that's one just example of what's treated in this exhibition. And that's what I mean when we reference the current state of affairs.
Of affairs, it's
Of
on
our
our planet,
Earth.
of our Earth.
At the same time, we want to fill you with wonder, because the other idea is once we engender care about something, then that
It's like a
pushes
ripple
us
effect,
to
maybe?
action, because once that you really
Once you're
have
aware of the
affection
impact.
for something and how precious it is, then you are motivated to protect it and take care of it. So when you come into the exhibition, you'll learn about bowerbirds, for example.
About what?
Bowerbirds.
Bowerbirds. I don't think I remember
So
that.
they're a type of bird, and we have recreated a giant replica, a human-sized replica of a bowerbird nest.
Bowerbird nest.
So you can walk through the nest, and what's special about these birds is that the males will build the nest to attract mates. So
I like that concept.
I like to call it their bachelor pad. They really do interior, design it, build their dream home, as it were, and they love using brightly colored things. So actually, here's where plastic
the
comes
bowerbirds.
in, because they'll take brightly colored
pieces of
plastic
plastic that they
and
find
incorporate them, like a cobalt blue, or just maybe aluminum, any kind, tinsel, these kinds of
Something that
things,
can
and
give some
each
bling to the
nest,
nest.
exactly, it's a blinged out pad, and each one is completely different from the next, because they're trying to stand out from their male competitors to attract a mate.
Oh,
So
I like it.
that's a fun fact, and something wondrous about our Earth. So we don't want to make it just about
all doom and gloom. We want to really celebrate the things that work.
Totally.
Absolutely.
And
Where
we
are
also,
bowerbirds? I'm sorry to interrupt you, but where do bowerbirds habitate? Do we have them around here?
we don't, and it's kind of sad. But as we're impacting Earth, we're also impacting the environments of birds. So that
So
we're
we might have them
changing
around here
their
before long.
migratory patterns. We're changing where they're nesting. So
stay tuned.
like you said, it is a total
possibility.
ripple effect. And the other thing that people may or may not know is that if you compare all of human existence to the age of the Earth, it would be the width of a penny in comparison to the Empire State Building. In other words, humans are absolute newcomers to Earth. Earth greatly outlives us, and we're really just
like a speck.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
In her evolution. So the other concept that we're hoping people take away is that, it's not Earth that's going to be destroyed. It's actually humanity that is what is at risk, because Earth will regenerate. and continue to
grow
live.
and continue to live.
It will continue
'Cause
to
it's made that
evolve,
way.
and we're
Yes,
just
evolve.
part of it. So
Wow.
it's really
Wow.
incumbent on us humans to
Yeah.
save ourselves.
save ourselves.
It's not about saving the earth. It's about saving
ourselves
humanity
and
itself.
humanity. It's interesting because I have a holistic nutritionist that has been on the show as well. And she, because the body has an electrical component to it, the human body.
Absolutely.
So she takes you put your feet in water, like right over your ankles, and it draws. She puts this electrical thing in there, and it draws all of the toxins out of your body, and the water, immediately starts to become brown. And it gets brown and brown. And she says, and I said, well, where are all those toxins coming from? Because I try to eat right, I try, and she's like, it's not just the way you eat; it's from the environment. She says, we're breathing things, or things are in our food, things are in the soil, and that's where these toxins come from.
Yeah.
So I try to go to her like once ever so often just because I want all the toxins to come out of my body, but it's not just what you eat, it's from the environment.
Yeah, it is that, as well as that Earth can heal us too. So as we're putting this term called microplastics into the Earth, and those
What are
pieces of plastic that have broken down into the size of a grain of rice or smaller. So
Wow.
it's difficult to filter those out of our drinking water because they're very
so
small.
Infinitesimally small.
And so they're really getting into even our blood systems.
Yeah, it can get into your bloodstream.
But I will say that Earth is a source of healing too. For example, green is the most calming color for us.
Yeah.
Green rooms are green for a
That's
reason.
right, green room, right?
And they're also an incredibly abundant color in the natural world.
Yes.
And our eye has the ability to discern great variations of green. In other words, our eyes are highly sensitive to the color green and very receptive to it. So Earth is designed to heal us as well.
Even
And then
in our sight, as we see. Okay, so we
and in
definitely
our
have to wear more
being
green.
and mind,
Note to self, wear more green.
St. Patrick's Day is coming
Look
up.
at more green.
Yeah. So, and we have a beautiful installation of life-size beaded monkeys and gorillas.
I know.
They're
I see
very
them. We have to get
lifelike.
a
They're
picture. I hope we
fan
can get one before we
favorites.
leave.
Oh, please do, please
Absolutely.
do.
Absolutely.
And they're covered in
And they're green.
they're green. They're called our green monkeys, and they're covered in just encrusted in jewels and shiny fabric and dried leaves and flowers. They're really showstoppers, and
They really are.
we just had a workshop this weekend. It's a hands-on art workshop open to the public where people could make their own mini version of these beaded, blinged out mosaic
Mosaics?
monkeys and then take them home with them. So that's part of our monthly series of art workshops.
Well, speaking of that, let's get into let's talk about this since we're there, and you so nicely transitioned into that. So the American Visionary Art Museum isn't just for artists that come in and display their artwork. You create artists, from what I see, because you have workshops, correct? That are open to the public really inexpensively. So tell us about those.
So every month we have a weekend walk-in. It's usually on a Saturday, and there are no reservations required. You just come in the afternoon. We'll be here in our classroom. We have all the materials. It's very very affordable, $5 to come in,
Wow.
and
Great.
it's a different project, and it keys off of our exhibition or some work in our permanent gallery. So the next one coming up is called Plant a Silly Succulent. Again,
Plant a silly succulent.
because so you'll get a baby succulent plant, and those are plants that don't need to be watered often, like cacti.
That's my kind of plant.
And we'll provide that, and we'll also provide like a jar where you can layer in different colored soil and sand, and you can paint the jar and decorate it as you want with paint and little shiny costume bling and things like that, costume jewels, and take that home with you. So because our exhibition is called The Secret Life of Earth, then we want to encourage people to have some hands-on experiences too.
Absolutely.
After they see the show.
First of all, that type of a workshop is really good for children. First of all,
it is all ages.
It is all ages to
all ages welcome.
Enhance their appreciation of the arts. But it's also good for, like you said, all ages, because doing something like that, and I've been to some art classes, but it's just so calming. It calms your spirit. And creating something that you can walk away with and look at and say, "Oh, I made this." It's just calming. I would imagine. Don't have scientific proof of this, but I would imagine it's great for your blood pressure. I know it was good for mine. It's got to be just really, really healthy for you all overall.
Yeah, I mean, there's such a mind-body connection.
Absolutely.
And the artists that are featured here in the museum don't necessarily consider themselves artists, but they had something inside that they wanted to say.
Express.
And so we hope that people coming here will walk away feeling they can do the same with whatever materials they have at home, or they can come here and we provide materials. But you walk in and our welcome mat that says "Smile" is actually made of used toothbrushes.
It's made of what?
Used toothbrushes. What? So the handles of toothbrushes are all different colors, so that artist used them as a palette and lined them up and then spelled the word "smile." And there's a sort of rainbow gradient in the background, all made with toothbrushes. So that's one example. Another is our Lusitania. It's a model of the ship Lusitania, and it's made with 200,000 toothpicks.
I think I have seen that one here. Oh my God.
So
such patience.
Yeah, and then another fan favorite is our applewood sculpture, and that was made by a tuberculosis patient out of one piece of wood, and that was the one and only piece of artwork that we know of that this patient made, but it was very healing. It was for him to do that, and so it's a beautiful self-portrait, beautifully rendered out of wood.
Wow.
So
it's a self-portrait.
there is definitely So there's definitely a healing component to making art.
Oh my goodness. Oh, so health and healing, earth and the secret life of Earth.
Yes.
We're learning the secrets, okay? Now, we have green back here in the background. I'm not sure if we can see it, but green is indeed the healing color. And you also have, which I love in this museum, you have quotations that inspire.
Yeah, and also are just funny too.
And are funny. Oh, yeah. There's a joke up there. But my jokes are better. Oh,
for example, as soon as you walk into the museum, in our first floor gallery, there's our founder and director's favorite quote by the artist Vincent van Gogh. Our founder, director, and principal curator is Rebecca Hofberger.
Absolutely,
and
she's a genius.
She brings a lot of magic and love to this place. That quote by Vincent says, "The more I think, the more I feel. There's nothing more truly artistic than to love people." So this museum is designed and conceived to spread to spread that message and also hopefully instill self-love too.
Instill self-love. I see a quote here and we're looking at it. It says, "Care for Earth," and I'm assuming it says, "And Earth will care for you." Over there it says, "Care for Earth."
Let's take a look.
Okay.
I don't have
Here
my
we have the glasses.
I don't have my
I'm sorry, I
glasses
didn't mean
with
to spring that on you. But
yeah,
care for Earth, and the concept is, and
yeah,
if you care for the Earth will, as you said,
yeah, it
give
has
back.
this incredible power to heal and self-regulate if given the chance.
Given the opportunity.
You know, what we do have to be cognizant and aware of is that the Earth's temperature is projected to rise by a few degrees, right? In the future.
Yeah, is that called climate change?
Yeah, this that our
Yeah,
Earth is actually
absolutely.
warming, and you know, people will wonder, well, what's the difference that a few degrees makes? And one way to translate that is thinking about our own body temperature, and that, you know, normal body temperature, I think, is 98.6 Fahrenheit.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
if we get up to 105 degrees in our own body temperature, then we begin to have organ failure.
Oh.
So
okay.
not
Yeah, then there's
just
that.
not just hospitalization,
Right.
but
Fever and-
severe, life-threatening conditions. So, you know, part of the message of this exhibition is, again, not just to encourage, you know, appreciation for what we do have, but awareness about what it means if we don't make some, you know,
Major
severe and major changes
Yeah.
immediately.
Yeah. Something, I mean, I think I read on your website was about, of course, this exhibit is an environmental crash course. That's what you all, it really, really, really is. And a love fest.
Thank you.
And it shows the fragility of the earth and of people, you know. And I think you also reflect this in your classes, the courses that you all teach.
Right. And, you know, since you were mentioning quotes before, we have one above a wall of painted shoes. I'll get to that in just a minute.
Yep, I was going to talk about the painted shoes, which you told me don't touch.
Yeah, unfortunately, in a museum,
Yeah, no, you
not
can't
too
touch. I
many
get
things.
it.
We have some things that are touchable and
Yeah,
you can
but
interact
you know,
with.
you just want to.
But you know, the quote says, "Walk as if your feet are kissing the earth."
Oh, I love it. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Right,
yeah.
right,
This
right.
idea that, you know, our earth is very precious, and
Yes, indeed.
so underneath that we have a wall of painted shoes. So they're literally shoes, boots,
know.
flats, high heels,
Everything.
all
And
kinds
it's
of shoes
artwork.
by Rick Skokesberg.
Yes.
And he paints scenes of Earth
Wow.
on them, and they're a lot of fun. You know,
They
they're
are
just
fun.
they're
They're
fun.
just fun.
He, I had the honor of meeting him when we opened our show. He came
good.
down along with several other artists for the opening, and he said, "You know, I started painting shoes because I just wanted cool shoes," and then
And
he
they are
couldn't
very
stop.
cool shoes. And they couldn't
So yeah, we have several pair on view
Yeah.
here.
And you know, and shoes do kiss the earth. It's funny because I'm one of those people. There are a lot of women that spend a lot of money on their shoes. I'm not that girl. So, you know, and I'm always saying, well, why do you all spend so much money on shoes when it's just going to be on the ground? Now that I've seen this exhibit, now I'm feeling guilty. I'm like, oh my gosh, these shoes were kissing the earth and I didn't realize it.
Well, that's good. That's
It
good.
is,
You
it's
know
good.
that
It
you're
makes
you're
you
showing
aware.
appreciation.
Definitely makes you aware. Absolutely.
for our
Definitely
lovely
makes
earth.
you aware. So tell us a little bit about the history of the museum. When did it start? How long has it been here?
Believe it or not, this is our 25th anniversary year.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, so we
25.
opened over Thanksgiving weekend 1995. And we are the,
appropriate.
and the Senator Barbara Mikulski, along with other senators,
Senators and Senators. Oh, my
got us.
My favorite.
Maryland Senator Barbara Mikulski helped us get a unanimous designation as the nation's museum
Oh.
for self-taught art. So,
Wow. That sounds like her.
yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so that was 25 years ago, and our founder and director, Rebecca Hofberger, really had the idea for this museum when she was working at Sinai Hospital in the psychiatry department. department, and she saw patients there making beautiful work, and she realized if this person is doing it, there must be many others.
And how healing art is.
Right,
Absolutely.
right. So from there, we've had 40 exhibitions.
Jeezy.
Yeah,
Wow.
made from, composed
All
of
kinds of things.
materials of all sorts, but mostly it's a way for Rebecca to talk about the human condition and what it is to be human fundamentally. I mean, one of our first exhibitions was race, class, and gender, 3 things that contribute 0 to character, because being a schmuck is an equal opportunity.
That does sound like Rebecca Hofberger.
Yes, and
Wow.
then we've had exhibitions
It's true.
like parenting and art without a manual, talking about what it is to be a parent and what it's like to be parented. And then we had, for example, an exhibition called Holy H2O. And during that year, the South Asian tsunami happened, which was, a major humanitarian,
it was a humanitarian crisis.
Became a huge humanitarian need. And so the exhibitions always try and talk about things that are,
that are relevant, and connecting the human condition to whatever is happening. And it's a never-ending topic.
Issues that humans have always grappled with. But at the, what we like to say, the good and the warts.
right, with the good,
the good stuff
Lovely
and
warts
the
and
warts
all, right?
of being a human.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
because Rebecca would never want the museum just to be about beautiful things.
Yeah, it has to have a message.
Yeah, she wants.
And Lord knows it has a message. This museum has a message. Absolutely, it has a message. And we will be back because I know you have another exhibit coming up after this one, which may be a secret, or can you give us some hints?
It's our 25th anniversary retrospective opening in October 2020, and it's going to showcase works from our 40 past exhibitions over our 25
years. Well, yeah, we're in 24th, but
25 year history. So that's going to be really special, and we hope that you all come out for that.
It is going to be special. So let's say where it is. We're at 800
Key Highway.
Highway.
We're at the base of Federal Hill, and right on the south side of the Inner Harbor, so we're pretty easily accessible.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, if we want to get to your website, because the website has a lot of really valuable information, and it also speaks to how you relate the human condition to artwork.
Oh, yeah, you'll find more information not just about our shows, but about the artists featured here, so if you want to learn more about them. But it's avam.org. So
AVM stands for American Visionary Arts
That's right.
Art Museum. I always put an S on it, but Art Museum.
That's right, avam.org.
.org, avam.org. I've got to tell you, and how long have you been here? I know it can't be 25 years because you look like you might be 26. You may have come...
I was born inside the museum. I've been here almost 3 years, so yeah, I've
and
got
look at
to
all
see.
the information you have absorbed. All of this information, it's just like you are an information sponge.
Well, what's great about the museum is that, you do get to learn so much here.
Right.
It's a lot of fun.
Absolutely. It's got to be fun. And we are exclusive here with Urban Health Beat 2.0, the podcast. And it is closed on Mondays to the public, just so people know.
Yeah, so we're open Tuesday to Sunday, 10 to 5.
Wow, so we can come on the weekends as well.
Yeah.
As I said, it's a great place for children. It's a great place for all ages. It's a great place to bring seniors, your parents, everyone.
Well, that's the hope, is that everyone from 3 years old to... your
3 to 100.
PhDs.
I'm claiming 120, by the way, just so everybody knows. I'm claiming 120, like the Bible says, but I'm just saying.
We hope there's something here for everyone, and even on the days that we're closed, there's outdoor sculptures that you're welcome to come and view.
Exactly. You've got sculptures, and you've got how many buildings? You've got 3 buildings?
3 buildings, and it's across a 1.1 acre campus, which we call the Wonderland campus. So you'll have fun exploring like the Universal Tree of Life, which is made completely out of mosaic mirror glass outside.
Oh my gosh. I'm gonna have to go
the
over
Cosmic Galaxy egg, which is covered in mosaic as well, and it's got images of the Hubble telescope embedded in there. So you'll get to see dying galaxies as well as galaxies being born, and
as
baby
well as
stars.
Being born? Okay,
Those
I have
images.
To go over there. I don't know how that works.
That's those are some examples of the outdoor sculptures that
and
even
mosaics,
when we're closed.
And mosaics are. I can only describe it. It's just they're little pieces of various things.
People use a lot of
so you can touch that. Maybe.
So for example, artist Bob Benson, when he saw a piece of mirror being reflected in the sunlight, he said, "Oh my goodness, that's a beautiful effect." And so he began cutting pieces of mirror and using that to create mosaic. So
it could be anything.
It can be a lot of different materials.
We will have some pictures on our site, but we have got to come back here. Helen, thank you so much. But I always say that laughter is the best medicine on Urban Health Beat. So I'm going to ask you this question, trying to keep to an earthy theme.
Okay. Well, and we also have a joke in the gallery.
In the gallery. Okay, you all have to come and see that joke. I'm not going to take the joke. You've got to come to see it.
Okay. We won't give that away. All right.
So why do the French like to eat snails?
Why?
Because they don't like fast food. Okay, she's not going to laugh.
No, because I'm a fan. Of the slow food
Tell Rebecca
movement.
I said that. They don't like fast food. So thank you so much, Helen. We are here at the American Visionary Art Museum, and please come and visit. And we have learned the secret life of Earth. We are still learning, and it's an evolutionary process. So until next time, I'm your host, Marilyn Harris Davis, and remember, your good health is a work in progress, so work it.